So I'm gonna just go over some basic concepts that you might already know, or you might have missed them. You probably, if you're new to electronic music production, you probably haven't heard these yet, maybe, or maybe you have, I don't know. But I was making this list for the benefit of a student that I was working with, and I thought I'd just make a video and go through it. So what we got is this document here, list of basic stuff. All right, so we've got some DAW kind of things, and I'll demonstrate some of these in Ableton. But a DAW, that's a digital audio workstation. That's a software that kind of does everything that you need to work with MIDI and audio and make music. You don't really need anything else. MIDI stands for Musical Instrument Digital Interface. It's a protocol that started in the 80s to make synthesizers and also drum machines, to make synthesizers and drum machines work together, sync together. Basically, that's how it started. And when I started working on music in the 90s on a PC, desktop PC and Cubase, and I bought my first synth, the Yamaha CS1X, and well, it's easier to get your head around it. Oh, it wasn't easy. It took ages. I tried to figure it out myself, but because you're working with a physical thing, with connecting with cables, you do figure out things like how MIDI is just information but not sound. That took me like weeks to figure out, because I had my new synth was like plugged into the computer. It was like a Sound Blaster card, right? So the synth was plugged in via a MIDI cable into the computer, and I was trying to play sounds from trigger Cubase, make it trigger sounds on the synthesizer, but I couldn't hear anything. And just for weeks and weeks I was just racking my brain as to why couldn't I hear anything. And eventually this guy who had a studio, who I kept on annoying, Alexis, so I was like, troubleshooting it, like, oh. And eventually, after trying everything, he was like, all the settings and everything, but eventually he was like, okay, what about, your headphones or speakers or whatever? And we found out there was that the synth I didn't have any audio connections coming out of the synth. I didn't have my headphones plugged in. I didn't plug the output in anywhere. So I plugged my headphones into the synth and I heard the sounds, and I realized I thought that the sound went through the MIDI cable into the computer and should come out the computer speakers. Of course, it doesn't. So, that kind of light bulb thing. Now, people just have a DAW these days, open up the DAW, and you're using MIDI and you're using audio, but maybe it's not that clear what the difference is now. I don't know. Or maybe it is. Maybe it's easy. Anyways, so MIDI is it's only information about when the note triggers, really. It's a bunch of information, but mainly it's note on, when does the note happen, which note happens, and when does the note stop. That's the notes that you draw into your piano roll. So audio, on the other hand, is a whole bunch of different types of files, like MP3s, WAV, FLAC, AIFF, whatever. So all these files, that they're actual sound encoded into a file. So you can do things with audio that you can't do. Okay, so most of the DAWs in the world, they have both MIDI and audio. They have MIDI channels and audio channels. In the MIDI channels, you can type in notes like that. Now, there's no sound yet because there's no instrument selected there. So that's just pure notes. So if you want to hear something, you have to have an instrument. Like in this one, there's operator. So if I put it up there, now you can hear something because there's an instrument there to play it. Operator is there. Okay, so Whereas audio, let's say if I wanted to record the audio, well, I could do resampling, and then I could hit record and then record some audio. Okay, then I have something different. Than I have an audio file. And an audio file is different from a MIDI because I can't go in there and then change those notes after. Well, I can, but it's more complicated. But in here, I can just go, well, I want to move this one over there now. You know, I can, there's no end to how much I can edit these notes or repeat them or whatever. Let me move, shift these ones in. You know, I can compose with the notes like that in MIDI much easier than I can with the audio. Now, you could do things with audio that you can't do with MIDI. You can reverse it. For example, you can't reverse MIDI notes. You can put them in a different order, but you can't reverse them. So this is like what you can do with tapes, old tape cassettes when you record on them or play them, speed them up. You can do all that with audio. So you can make it all right. So that's the difference between audio and MIDI. Anything can be audio, speech or instruments or loops or anything. Anything can be audio. But MIDI is just information that triggers things. Whatever samplers or synthesizers or drums or whatever. It's all possible. Okay, now back to the list. Okay, so a plugin is something that you drop onto a channel. It is like an effect in Ableton. All DAWs usually have their own built-in plugins that they come with, or you can get third-party ones that some of them are free or some of them you have to buy. And they're the audio effects here, things like auto filter. If you put that on, then you'll hear, actually you can filter it then. Things like that, or chorus. You could see there's chorus there. Hey, chorus is pretty cool. I forget to use chorus a lot of the time. A delay. It's pretty cool, this actually. This is why electronic music is so fun. You just put stuff up and it starts sounding cool. Okay, anyways, that's what a plugin is. And then we have a VST, which VST is just a type of plugin. So if you're looking for plugins for your DAW and your DAW runs with VSTs, which most of them do, you can just get those ones. Don't worry about the other ones. But audio units, or Logic uses those. So, but I think it uses VSTs as well now. I don't know. There's different kinds of plugins, different formats of plugins. And a soft synth is like, rather than a hardware synth, which is an actual physical synthesizer, a soft synth is just a piece of software synthesizer. So like the thing playing this, that's a soft synth called operator. And then we have, some terms from synthesis. The synthesis terms, we can see them, demonstrate them in operator. So an oscillator, now nearly all synthesizers use this kind of use these terms, nearly all of them function on this type of concepts. All right, so let's go in here and let's just make a couple of longer notes. All right. That's nice. Okay, so the oscillator, move this up, is, we're hearing this now. Click on oscillator and you can have all these different types of waves, like a saw, and you can hear it sounds different. It's different kinds of saws, different kinds of harmonics, or a square sounds like that. Or triangle. They're all the waves are named after the shape of the wave, so they all sound different. So sine is nice and smooth and plinky, and I like sine waves, but saws are pretty cool too. Oh, that's a okay, so that is the oscillator. So the oscillator is what oscillates. That wave is happening again and again very rapidly, and the air kind of vibrates and you hear that. And then you have, so there's the, oh, you have noise as well. So sine wave, sawtooth wave, triangle wave, square wave, noise wave, all different kinds of them. Noise sounds like just noise, just harsh noise. Ooh, okay. And then next on our list is envelope. So envelope is when you see, here's the envelope. So you've got the attack. If it's a long attack, the sound doesn't start immediately. Very short attack, it comes in immediately. And then you have the decay, which is from the attack, how long until it reaches the level that it sustains for. The sustain is a attack, decay, release. Sustain. The sustain is a level. The rest are times. Because the sustain is going to last for the rest of the note. When the note stops, the release will kick in. So here's a long release or a short release. So that's the ADSR envelope, attack, decay, sustain, release. It's much easier to understand these visually. So that's where the note comes in. It doesn't drop at all. But if it does drop, it gives it a stronger attack. Can't really hear the difference. Oh, because the note's so short. See, if it's out here, then the note is so short it's not sustaining for very long. But if you, now it's got a, so it's kind of a bit deceptive when you have the long sustain, because if the note's very short, it's not going to sustain. It's not going to, anyways, that's envelope. And then LFO, and LFO up here is something that a low frequency oscillator, it oscillates like a sine wave. You can choose different types of waves. Oh. That's cool, eh? Yeah, I think I'll do something with that, all right. Very cool. So that's affecting, here's the old help button. This is the range, low, high, or sync. And retrigger, yeah, anyway, those things aren't that important, but they're just the behavior of the LFO, how it works. It says more in there. Low, 50 seconds to 30 hertz, or you can go much higher than that. Anyway, that's cool. Okay, and then the amplitude refers to the, basically, all the level and gain is increasing the amplitude. The volume, when volume increases, it's a much more complicated relationship actually, but the amplitude is essentially how loud we're going to hear it. Okay, and then that's about it. So we could make, at the moment we just have one oscillator, the rest are off, but we could have so operator works with 4 oscillators, but they can be lined up in different ways. In this way, where they're all in, each of them are just mixed together. Sounds pretty cool actually. Let's make this one different, so we have different. So at 12, that's I'm getting distracted here. Okay, and then we'll put in another one. Pretty cool, eh? All right. Frequency and resonance. Filter. Yes, so we have filters. Here's the filter. So we have high pass filters like this one. As you put the filter up, only the high frequencies pass through, or the low pass filter. As you bring the frequency down, then only the low frequencies pass through, low pass filter. And then the resonance is kind of a peak in the frequencies. Which makes it brighter in a certain area, which is not there when it's up. Okay, that's it. So when I put the frequency right down, only frequencies lower than 30 hertz pass through, so you can't hear it. And that's basically, that's it. I'm gonna make a track now with that idea. Okay, yeah, I have nothing more to say now, and yeah, let's end the video.